Hi, I told you I'll be back. Okay, I was thinking, um, I was watching a post and they were talking about the Bible and they was specifically talking about the garden, Eve and Adam being in the garden and was talking about the serpent, convincing and how they went against our Creator's instructions. Okay, and I was thinking about the the how wisdom is and how free will is and how we all have the power of choice. Okay, and I was thinking about how the that gathering in that garden and how our Creator and the serpent was never there together. They didn't hear the voices like in a conversation, you know. That conversation wasn't being held all together. If you follow me. And so I was thinking about how we're how it how we're made in our Creator's image. And I was thinking about how good and evil exist. Okay. And we know this because of, it's talked about, a lot of things are seen and the news and, you know, and how a lot of things is reported. You know, you could hear about the good and you could hear about the evil. And how we're made in our Creator's image. So, I was just thinking about in that garden when heard the two different voices and was able to determine that it was two different voices. But then I was thinking that maybe it was just three of them in that garden. And you know how we have, the yin and the yang, the dark and the light. And I was thinking that maybe it was just three of them in that garden. And they was experiencing the light and the dark. And how we are made in that image. And how we have I know that I have a light side and a dark side. You know how, like, like if there is a pendulum, or I don't even want to say a pendulum. You know how if there's a long, like a seesaw, and they were in schoolyards, and if you stand right there in the middle, you can actually, one person can actually make it move, like side to side, side to side. But if there's one person sitting on that side, they're not going to be able to make it go no further than how the length of them being able to extend their legs up from the sitting position. And so I'm just saying that to say, like, if all that was in, I guess, each of us is just light, and hold on. I'm choosing my words here. I'm saying this to say because of what a lot of us have been witness to is seeing good and evil. And then a lot of us has a personal relationship with our Creator. So we know that our Creator exists. In the midst of this good and evil. Because a lot of us has not just only witnessed good. A lot of us have witnessed good and bad, evil. So I'm saying this to say that some want to say that some fear our Creator. Some don't. But all the same, our Creator is in the midst of the good and the evil. Pardon me. So what I'm saying is that in each one of us is that so-called yin and the yang, the light and the dark. And we have that, remember I had said about the free will and the power of choice. We have the choice to present the light side or the dark side. And so when I was talking about, because that free will is there and wisdom is there, that maybe it was just 3 there. Because we're made in our Creator's image. And we're here and our Creator exists in the midst of what a lot of us have witnessed being the good and the bad, or good and evil. But our Creator is here in the midst of us experiencing that. And at times, You can choose to present light side or dark side. In some circumstances, some experiences brings either one out. And so I was saying that to say about the garden. Maybe it was just 3. And then they experienced or got a glimpse, but not really knowing. Because of the free will being there. And wisdom exists being there is. Wisdom is, free will is. And I don't mean to sound confusing, but I'm just saying that maybe it was presented and then there was a choice. You had that free will to choose. And then after the choice was made, it was like, okay, pull back the curtain, let's move on. That kind of a thing. But like I said, I don't mean to sound confusing about this, but I'm just saying, and I was just thinking. But yeah. But remember to move, to maintain mobility, because that stiffness is a real thing. But yeah. But until then, take care. And I'll be